Faith of a mustard seed. That's something that we talk about. It's a metaphor in our Christian tradition, but so often we don't actually expand on it very much. We don't talk about faith, which is really kind of ironic because we're supposed to be an institution, a people that are driven by faith, but we're not often. And I'll even be the first one to say that sometimes we just need to be driven by action. The story that we're looking at today in Luke 17 is it's a common one. The disciples came and said, give us faith, give us something stronger. Faith is not something that we can be given. This is the part the disciples didn't understand, the early followers didn't understand. And to be quite honest, I think this is something that we don't understand a lot even today. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking to someone I just met, and they thanked me for helping renew their faith because they were struggling, and now we've had a bit of a conversation since where I'm helping them get their faith developed where they want to be, but it's not me, and that's the thing I was trying to impress upon them. I am incapable of helping anyone develop their faith. All I can do is open doors and ask questions. Faith is a choice. You choose to believe. It's not something you just give, and it's not something you wake up with. Been reminded recently about exercise. Totally unrelated, but not. Bear with me. So, we all know we should have exercise. We know we should be doing it, but we don't feel like doing it, so we just don't. Faith is kind of like that thing too, only we can't see our outside bodies suffering because we're not going about it. Like if you're not exercising regularly, you can kind of tell. Not always. Some people are very fit and they don't look at to the Western assumption. But the point is that we're told to do something unless we actually feel like we should be doing it. There's no motivation there. We have to choose to do it for ourselves. That's like faith. You have to choose. Years and years ago, I was with someone who's a self-avowed atheist, and she's never done anything to make me think otherwise. And she was telling me she doesn't have the faith gene. And I started to laugh immediately, but she was serious. She had a solid face, and I'm like, oh, okay, let me walk that back. And I was just thinking, you have faith that the traffic lights are going to work. You have faith that the fire department will show up. You have faith. You choose not to have faith in a higher being, which is your choice. That's perfectly fine. But it's not like there's something missing in you because you don't have this faith. It's just you have made the choice to not include that in your life. We as Christians have made the opposite choice, that we do want to include Jesus in our lives. But often that's where we leave it. And Jesus kind of talks about this in the parable of the mustard seed. He said he's telling them about a servant and about how the servant's been working all day in the field, and they come in, and it's not like they're going to join the master at the table and they're welcome to partake like everybody in the family. I mean, these are the people who are working for them. They're servants, they're slaves, whatever word the translator has used. They're not part of the family. They're not on the inner circle. And they're just supposed to sit down and have dinner with them? No, that's not going to happen. They know their job. Their job is to work outside and then come work inside, preparing the meal. And then after that, they will sit down to their own meal. You don't reward people for doing the job that they're been told to do and asked to do. We'll deal with classism at a whole other point in time. But it was a metaphor that made sense in Jesus' time. You do not thank people for a job well done when they haven't done the job. That's Management 101. You do not thank people for these great big accomplishments when they haven't actually accomplished anything. I mean, anybody who's lived through the 90s with the participation trophies knows the emptiness of that. When Jesus was telling this story, it was the same thing. You're not getting reward for, first of all, not finishing, and second of all, just doing what you're expected to do. There's nothing award worthy in there. And Jesus was looking at faith as the award they're seeing, because they said, Jesus, give me more faith. Give us more faith so we can have more faith in the situation. And Jesus said, even the tiniest mustard seed, if you had faith this tiny, You could still do incredible things, suggesting that they don't even have faith big enough for a mustard seed because they don't understand what faith is. It's a choice that we make every day to have in the divine. And there are days when it is really easy for us to not make that choice, or to make the choice that says, you know, I'm done with it. There is nothing here. And usually that choice is predicated on this thing called theology, this belief system. Well, this belief system grew up hundreds of years after Jesus even existed. In fact, most of it comes from the Greeks, who were absolutely desperate in their sense of philosophy to explain the nuance and the subtlety and the meaning behind everything, to the point where it can be really ridiculous. The ultimate example of ridiculous in Christian theology is how many angels are dancing on a pinhead. That was a real argument in the Middle Ages. Because, taken to its natural conclusion, anything that we try to logically figure out can get weird. Jesus was not part of any of that. That's what came after. That's usually what people kind of butt up against, is the faith that came after. But Jesus is talking about simple stuff. Faith in God changes things. It changes you, changes me, changes the world. But part of that faith is also to live it. And this is a really big thing for Luke. Live your faith. Don't just talk about it. Don't just meditate about it. Don't just claim it. Live it. So he's telling these folks, you do not get the award of more faith without having put in the work, without having put in the time, without having done even the most basic stuff that you're asked to do. We have to make the choice to be people of faith, or to not be people of faith. At no point are any of us capable of giving faith to someone else, any more than Jesus was capable of giving it to the disciples. You don't. But here's the thing that's really incredible. When you have faith, you start to see examples of God in the world. When you don't have faith, that's when you hear it in people's voices. Well, prove to me that God exists. Prove to me that all this is true. Well, we can't. Honestly, we can't. All we can do is talk about our faith, what has been true to us, how we have seen things. Jesus got that. He told parables about it because people could not have the truth head on. They needed to have it sideways through story. We will see God when we decide to let God in. No one's going to give us anything. No one's going to give us faith. No one's going to give us any kind of higher wisdom if we don't actually work for it and do the basics of what we're asked to do. We don't get that kind of a reward. It doesn't work like that. It's a relationship, and our part of that relationship is to have faith and to follow. Simple, not easy, but it's what we're called to do. So you want to up your faith? Choose every morning to be a person of faith, and then start to look around. And that will get you into a cycle of seeing, well, I can have more faith because here, God's here and here and here and here and here, people I hadn't even thought about. If you wake up every morning to decide faith is not really a thing, you're going to see a lot of examples of why faith should not be a thing. Basic kind of put it out in the universe and you get it back kind of thinking. It's real. It works. So make the choice. Have faith. Jesus promises even the tiniest bit of faith will move things like you would not believe, and it will help you grow. And as you grow, you're going to have more reasons to have faith. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy in many ways, but that's how you get more faith, by choosing to start to have faith.